Hey there, it's Dusty with yet another Reddit story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Share a Table in a Crowded Coffee Shop with Another Patron Because She Smelled Bad? Oh my. I, 22 female, was studying at a popular coffee shop in my town yesterday afternoon. It was crowded, but I was lucky enough to get a two-person table with an outlet. Not a big table. I stayed there for maybe 3 hours and ordered multiple items throughout my stay. About an hour into my stay, a girl about my age who reeked of weed asked if she could share my table so she could study as well. I looked around and every other chair was occupied and there were even people standing beside the tables. I absolutely despise the smell of weed. It's legal in my state, so there's no issues there, but it makes me nauseous and gives me a headache. So I knew there was no way I would get anything done with that girl across from me. Without mentioning her smell, I told her no, that I needed my personal space. That might not have been the answer. I mean, if you need personal space, don't go to a public area, right? Instead of walking away, she pressed and said that if I wanted my personal space, I shouldn't study in the most popular coffee shop in town. Yeah, maybe come up with a different excuse next time. I then told her that I specifically did not want her at my table because she smelled like a marijuana farm and she should take a shower before she tries to infringe on strangers' personal space. I thought she would go away after that, but she told me she was sitting at my table whether I liked it or not. She put her things down, maybe thinking that I would leave. Okay. The ESH is making a lot more sense now. Instead, I flagged down an employee and explained the situation. She sided with me and asked the girl to leave, threatening to call security if she didn't do so. I resumed my work, but feel a bit shaken by the situation. Later that evening, I recalled what happened to some of my friends. I thought that they would all agree that she was being an asshole, but to my surprise, a couple of my friends told me that I was the unreasonable one. One of them is familiar with the coffee shop and told me that it was rude of me to hog a table, even though I bought 2 drinks and a pastry throughout my stay, and that if I really had a problem with someone smelling bad, I should have just left. Another one of my friends said that my comment about how the person smelled was out of line, and even if someone is being rude, I shouldn't talk like that to a stranger. This sparked a huge debate until I agreed to post this sub to settle it once and for all. So, am I the astronaut in this situation? I have thoughts, but before we get into that, let's get into the top comment on this. NTA, you were at the table first, and it was a small 2-person table. It's not like you were sitting by yourself at a big 4+ person table and not letting anyone else sit there. When my husband and I sit together at a 2-person table at a cafe, there's barely room for both of us plus our laptops. I can't imagine letting a stranger sit that close and personal next to me, especially if they smelled bad. You could have offered her the chair so she could take it and sit somewhere else. But in my opinion, you politely declined, and then she was the one who pushed it. Then you mentioned her smell. She deserved it at that point when she wouldn't accept no for an answer. Okay, I do agree with this part, right? It was a come what may moment whenever OP politely said, I'm sorry, I need my personal space. But I mean, that wasn't the best intro to saying no, right? I think the thing that made the lie that would make a lot more sense here would be, I'm waiting on someone. Nothing she can come back to with that. But the I need my personal space, I feel like opened you up to some criticism from her. Now, look, you're at a 2-person table. You've been working there or studying there throughout the day. You have every right to say no. It's not a communal table, a 2-person table. You were a patron. You weren't just loitering there. When she pressed, that's when you mentioned the smell, right? Now, I would say that, like, if you're really bothered by smells going into public, period, it wouldn't have to be somebody sitting at your table. It could be somebody just within a 5-foot radius. Their smell bothers you, and then what? What if it's a person 2 tables over that reeks of weed? What then? You would have no choice but to get up and leave. You couldn't say anything to them and be like, hey, could you please leave? You stanky like the wanky. But in this case, like, I don't know. Because she continued to press. Now, she continued to press because you gave the personal space reason. And again, not that I condone lying, but I think the white lie of I'm sorry, I'm waiting on someone would have been a better defense. It would have been a lot harder for this other person to continue pressing the issue. What say you? No is a completely acceptable answer. No is a complete sentence. Yeah. Barnyard, you're in a public space in a state where it's legal. OP set themselves up for failure. ESH. I don't know. I agree with an ESH. I do agree with this. I feel like this is an everyone sucks here. And OP, although theoretically or on principle, I agree that you were in the right of declining I feel like your answer of needing your private space is what opened you up to criticism here. And then you gave the stanky answer, and that's why you feel like you might be an asshole here, and this person might feel personally attacked. But then again, you know what? They probably like hotboxed in their car and then came into the coffee shop. They're probably fully aware that they reek of wheat and just don't care. I feel like then everyone sucks here because the I need my personal space is not something that when you're trying to politely decline, somebody is going to, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is the you shouldn't have to be good at lying to politely decline, Angel? You know what? I agree. So is the I need my personal space, is that a good enough answer to politely decline? Is it? Stranger asked and answer was no. Yeah. I mean, and then but it is the I need my personal space. That's the part where, I don't know. I would have just said no and gone back to work. Yeah, you know what? That would have been even better. Just to be like, no, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. You don't have to share. Yeah, she had every right to decline. And still, on principle, I agree that she was NTA here. But you guys are of the opinion here that the I need my personal space is a perfectly acceptable reason, right? They added justification for no. That went wrong here today. Agreed. It is the justification that probably wasn't needed and made it worse. Katie, thank you. She had the right to decline. It doesn't mean that she wasn't rude, though. Delivery probably has a lot to do with this, too, because if it's, no, I need my personal space versus, I'd really prefer that you didn't. I really feel like I need my space to be able to study right now. And I've I got here early to plant at this table, and I've been buying things to make sure that I'm earning this table. I'm not taking advantage of the situation. So I'd really appreciate it if you didn't.